Hello, and welcome to the first season of DigiFox Studios' new original podcast series, The Blood-Drawn Chronicles. Brought to you in part by Cool Comics and Games, Lee County's largest comics and gaming store, and the generous contributions of audiences like you. Thank you. The Blood-Drawn Chronicles Season 1, The Manuscripts of a Valpir, stars Nelson Ventura as Myrick, son of Meyer, Alyssa Kalugden as Carina Gallo, Paul Roberts as Lord Dragon, and Sterling Torville as Lord Tyrus Godfrey. To view the full cast, crew credits, and more, please visit www.digifoxstudios.com/tbdc. On behalf of everyone here at DigiFox Studios, we want to thank you for listening, and now our story begins. If you're reading this, I bestow a word of caution to those faint of heart. This book contains a record of events that occurred and acts which I've committed during my time in the world of man. I am Myrick, son of Meyer, and these are the manuscripts of a Valpir. Sunfire, the blue flame which emulates the sun's light, as described by Carina. Burning brightly outside, it is the only thing that stands between us and the horde which awaits beyond its borders. I hear them as they continue to grow in numbers. I join Carina by the window where she stood. Together, we look out into the distance. What my eyes observe somewhat rattles me. I witness as these mindless, dead-eyed corpses try passing through the flames, bursting into piles of ash upon contact. Yet they continue forward. Do the corpses behind the ash piles not realize what happened to the corpses that were in front of them? Are they so mindless that they do not comprehend when they touch the blue flame? They incinerate instantly. I turn to Carina, who begins to head towards the table behind me. From behind the table, she pulls out what appears to be a rolled-up rug. She unrolls it across the tabletop, unveiling a large assortment of weapons, swords, vials, garlic cloves, and a small sack which she empties to reveal 2 black stones. She turns to me.
There's no time. Are you familiar with how to start a fire?
Yes. She brings herself closer to me, but not before breaking both stones in half. She places both pieces of broken stone in my hand. At first, I take notice of how brittle the stones feel. As I begin to caress them in my hand, I pay close attention to how it leaves behind a type of residue that tarnishes my glove, staining it black. The stone is man-made, and based on Carina's question, I managed to deduce that these stones in my hand are the source of where Sunfire comes from. I take both my eyes and my mind off the stones, to find Carina standing in front of me once more. This time, with a sheathed sword in each hand.
Are you able to wield a sword, Mr. Myerson?
What are you planning?
The Shobi are trying to get through. Eventually, the fire will weaken, at which point they will succeed. Take this sword. We'll exit together. You head right and I'll head left. The objective is to find any weak spots around the ring where the fire needs to be relit. From there, you'll use the Sunfire Stones to reignite the flame. Should you find the Shobi have somehow started passing, take your sword and aim for their necks. The idea is to sever their head in one swing. Do you think you can manage, Mr. Myerson?
Yes. What happens after we complete the circle?
The Shobi are trying to cross as we speak. Little by little, their ashes will begin to extinguish the flame. The plan is to keep the fire burning long enough to kill as many of them as possible, after which we'll have to fight however many are left over. Now, shall we, Mr. Myerson?
Carina and I part ways. She went towards the left, while I continued right, until all that stood between the horde and myself was sunfire. I began pacing parallel to the fire, eyeing the undead that stood beyond the flames. I took the Sunfire Stones in my hand and placed them in my pocket. I take my gloves off and strap them to the right of my waist. My sword remains strapped to my left. I have no intent of unsheathing my weapon. Instead, I extend my claws. I look once more at the horde behind the flames. Carina's plan is one of desperation. This is not a well-known trait to the members of House M. We do not possess fear, we do not run and hide. We do not cower. We fight. We conquer. We annihilate. I pass through the fire, my body covered in flames. All it burns away is my mercy. I hold the last survivor of 100 by the neck. He growls viciously. I grin as I imagine what must be going on inside his head, as if he could take me on by himself. I place my other hand atop his head, and before I proceed to remove his head from his body, I utter the last words he will ever hear. Join your brothers in the afterlife, and tell them to make way, for your master shall join you shortly.